Now we're going to make the point about what the NDC did, and we have made we have taken the position that it was folly for the NDC National Party and leadership, particularly Johnson Asiedu Katia and Fiif Kwetey, to believe that they were going to, at the outset of their leadership reign, crack the party whip upon a matter of nominations, because they ought to have known or ought to have done the right political analysis with the historical background available to all to research, to notice that when it comes to nominations, as I said, whether it's at Capital, whether it's at the Knesset, whether it's at Westminster, whether it's in Accra, whether it's in Abuja, it's the same. Nominations is one part of the parliament's work where the party situation is significantly reduced. And you heard in the text message, some of them were saying that, let me just sip a bit of water, isn't it? 1 minute. Thank you for your time. 2 minutes. All right. In the text message, somebody was saying that he likes the way the vote was taken, and if somebody is my friend, why should I abandon the person because of my party? You don't know what the friend does for me, and do you know what the friend is going to do? If somebody is your friend in parliament or you're on opposite sides and he's been nominated to be Minister of Agric, whatever relationship we have with him, whatever he could do for you, whatever you can work with him, he will be in a better position to assist in whatever you want, because now he's a Minister of Agric, he's a Minister of Defense, a Minister of that. Are you going to vote against that? Because that will inure to your benefit, to the benefit of your constituents. Primaries are coming. So all I'm saying is that this leadership should have known that when it comes to that, the role of the party situation is significantly reduced. It is really other things. I'm disappointed that it didn't occur to such seasoned politicians and seasoned MPs. I'm particularly concerned about my friend, the nice gentleman, Fiif Kwetey, because Fiif Kwetey has had a personal experience of this. He had been nominated for a position in 2009, Deputy Minister of Finance, working with Dr. Dufour. Fiif Kwetey had poured out so much vitriol in the 2008 elections with his setting the record straight. He had been dastardly on Kufuor's integrity. He had been hard-hitting on Akufo-Addo, calling Akufo-Addo all sorts of names. Fiif Kwetey had become the kingpin of the NDC's vitriol campaign in 2008. The propaganda secretary whose dislike for the NPP goes beyond measure. This was Fiif Kwetey in January 2009, nominated by Professor Mills to become the Deputy Minister for Finance. See this video in which Adom-Otchere, the Member of Parliament for Chebi at the time, begins the questions with Fiif Kwetey. I'll come back after the video and I'll show you in the vote that elected Fiif Kwetey. There's a Joy Online story that shows that some NPP people broke ranks to elect him. Let's start with the video. Here's Adom-Otchere.
I just want to be clear in my mind as to whether the nominee has been seen. Very well.
I am very much concerned about your capacity to tell the truth. I'm very much concerned about it. You come across as somebody who is very strong on issues, very strong, sometimes very insulting. And if you look at the editorial of your newspaper, which is just dated 9th March 2009, that's today's issue, I was a bit scandalized that some serious verbal assault was launched on the former President Kufuor and also Osafo. This time out, with your indulgence, let me refresh his memory on what has been captured. Very interesting. Osafo is yesterday's man. Mr. Osafo was once a Minister of Finance and economic planning under the senseless, wasteful former NPP government led by GEG alias 50%. Alias 50%. And then when the editorial goes on to say that it also takes us into the mind of the minority in parliament and the mischievous spirit operating within them. And it goes on to say that concerning Osafo, it is either dementia is setting in because of old age, or Osafo is woefully criticizing the budget to score cheap political points for his party, and so on and so forth. I think that, seriously speaking, this does not mark you out as a very civil person who should be given such a high office of Deputy Minister of Finance, because you needn't insult another man to make a point. How are you going to fit into this role if this is your frame of mind and disposition? That's my first question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The honourable member clearly.
Okay, so this is Fiif Kwetey. This is his vetting. Very brutal. Very, very brutal like that. About him, the committee could not hold unanimity. So the matter had to go before the House. It was very rare in those days, but it occurred with Fiif Kwetey because the lost love and bad blood between himself and even the NPP MPs and the NPP party was quite worrying, significant. Now let's get to the story of the vote on the Fiif Kwetey. Let's put that story up in a minute and see. Okay, so this is the story. 4 NPP MPs defied party to approve Fiif Kwetey in 2009. Mutala claims. Is that not a story that follows? Okay, yeah, this is it. Member of Parliament for Tamale North, Ibrahim Mohammed Mutala, has alleged that the New Patriotic Party was the first party to have its lawmakers disobey the party over approval of ministerial nominees. He explained that it is rare to point at a rejected ministerial nominee under the 4th Republican Constitution. It was instructive to note that the NPP's members of Parliament in 2009 defied the party to pass a Deputy Finance and Economic Planning Minister designate. The nominee happened to be a sitting MP for Ketu South at the time. Fiif Kwetey was the nominee. He is the current General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress. In this 4th Republic, I don't think we have ever had a minister rejected, and I'll give you an example, blah, 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 blah. So, viewers, can you have Fiif Kwetey's photograph back? With this kind of experience, why wouldn't a person like Fiif Kwetey not be mindful that cracking the whip with nominees could be a very slippery ground, and that if you went on that tangent and you were not successful, the dent could be significant and it could take a long time to cover it up and to heal it? It ought to have occurred to him. I mean, I talk about the wisdom of the Lord all the time, that the wisdom of the Lord can elude people and, all that kind of thing. I talk about that. The glory of the Lord can elude Ichabod, they say in the Bible. But sometimes you can't explain these things. The kind of person we're talking about with the experience he has, this kind of experience he has, he should have been the first to tell us that, hey, Chairman, hold on. These nominations, it can be tricky. Remember my nomination. The NPP said they won't. But eventually, you know what happened? The businessman who is in parliament, I spoke to him and he said, you get his people so that when I go there, I can approve his checks. He's from the other side, but he was able to talk to his people for me. So, Chairman, this thing, if we are not careful, let's look for something else and crack the whip. This one will work because of my own example. Really, that should have been the conversation. That should have been it. But radicalism often does not allow people to see clearly. Radicalism. It doesn't allow people to see clearly. That's why you don't want to have them in leadership. You want to have them in, but not in leadership. They are mobilizers, they are ideologues, but not in leadership because they don't see clearly. They see the way of ego radicalism and decision making and power. And I'll deal with him and I'll deal with him, and that's how radicals do it. So you have two radicals in the center of your matter. This is what you're going to have. Fiif Kwetey, with the accounts that we have just narrated, should have been the person to know that you can't use nominations, apart from knowing that it happens in the capital, it happens all over the world. Can't use nominations to crack the whip, because in nominations, the party matter devolves to some very little percentage of the decision-making 100%. The party matter is probably less than 10. Relationships, personal ideas about competence, philosophical connections, those are the things that matter, because it's a choice, a decision to be made about an individual. So psychologists will tell us that when we are making decisions about an individual, we look at how we know that individual. Not how Kofi knows him, not how Ajua knows him, how I know him. That's how I make the decision, because it's about an individual. If it's about a political party, it's a group, I can make the decision of this group, they are all too tall, they are all too short, I don't like them. Yes. But when you stick one individual out, I will not say they are all, I will say that I remember him from Adom-Otchere. He was a good man. So if you understand that, you will know that you can't use the whip. Somehow, they didn't know. Somehow, they don't understand that they have done the problem. They have created it, but they don't understand. They think they are pointing fingers to a statue, non-existent statue called treachery. That's what they are doing. They don't see that it is their folly. They are pointing fingers to a statue that doesn't exist. It's called treachery. It's treachery. But we don't want our political parties to be like that. We want them to have the strength, the power. We want them to have powerful civil societies behind them. We go to America, the Republicans have the Heritage Club, the Democrats have Brookings. They are powerful civil society organizations, and they work for these people. If today Imani says I'm NPP or NDC, it's going to be a fight. But we should grow to that level where we have high quality research that is going to our various political parties, so that the standards will be increased, the standards will be improved, so that when we say somebody is a member of parliament, he's worth his salt, he commands the respect. We need the quality to get into our political life. That's why we are preaching all this. So the young people will see that politics is not a dirty game. It's a game of intellectual competition. And it's very, very slippery. So you have to be careful. You have to exercise the utmost care in politics. And those who want to dare and want to sacrifice can come into politics. So we have the politics of tomorrow enriched with research. When the prime minister writes, or a minister writes, or a vice president or a former president, he writes a letter, you read it, you know that this has come from the stables of our former vice president. Powerful. It doesn't look wishy-washy. It doesn't look ugly. It doesn't have ugly words in it, like we have seen some of the things we have demonstrated on the touch screen tonight. So this is the other point we make.